Today we're going to introduce how we met, our story. It's a crazy story.
So we'll start back at the very beginning, which was the summer of 2019. For some reason, I think we should give a lot of background, like get into the nitty-gritty details.
Let's do it.
It was the summer of 2019, and I usually went home every summer to England during my stay in Utah just because I wanted to see my family and whatever. But for some reason, this summer I was like, I want to stay in Utah. I want to have like a Utah summer because I've never experienced that before. I wanted to have adventures. I wanted to have fun, meet new people. So I decided to stay. And my dating life at the time was interesting because I honestly was just at a point where I was like a bit done with boys. Like I just couldn't be bothered. That would summarize it. I just couldn't be bothered with boys at that point in my life. Like I just wanted to have fun. I honestly, like, I really, really was not like looking for a relationship. I was just like, if they want me, if it works out, great, but I'm not like pursuing anything. Okay, I'll talk about my background. So.
Yeah, give your background.
Oh, okay. So the type of boys that I kept going on dates with, I went to film school here in Utah, and the film school that I went to, it was in a building that was in the same building as the theatre, art and music students. So I kept going on dates with like people from that kind of genre, and I just kept feeling like they weren't my type. And I just kept being like, oh, these guys, like, they're nice as friends, but they just don't really like fit me long term. And so I was thinking about all the people that I knew, and I was like, who are the people who like have, I don't know, qualities that I really look for, like that ambition and drive that I was kind of looking for. And I was like, the finance guys. Like, the finance guys are the ones who just, like, know which direction they're going in, whatever. I was like, I need to date a finance boy. But I was never in the finance building. And so I was like, I don't know how I'm going to meet a finance boy. So that's just a bit of background.
So for my background, I broke up with somebody in March and then was just single, kind of going on lots of dates up until the summertime. And like Sophia, I actually hadn't had a Utah summer in a long time. I served my mission, came home from my mission, and then the next summer I did what we call summer sales. Basically, we knock doors and try and sell something. So I was selling security systems.
He was a summer sales bro.
Yeah, I was a summer sales bro. You'd never guess it. And this summer, I was either going to go do sales again, or I told myself if I didn't do sales, then I'd need to make a ton of money to make up for not doing sales, study in school, so try and get a few classes knocked out, and then I needed to get a girlfriend. I don't know why that was my criteria, those three things. And for some reason, I wanted a BYU girl. So I went to a neighboring school. It's called eveeeen, Utah Valley University. But for some reason, I always wanted to date a BYU girl. So in my experience, I was social. I was going to parties and I was trying to meet people, but I couldn't really, like, I never really found anybody that I was super excited about. And so I finally succumbed.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Finally succumbed and downloaded the dating apps. I always told myself I wouldn't, but I was like, you know what, I'm staying in Utah, said I'm going to date, might as well go for it. So downloaded the dating apps.
So around that same time as well, I think as a joke, I genuinely think it was as a joke with my roommates. One night we downloaded an app and I was like, okay, I'll be the one to download it and set up a profile, whatever. And so I had that app, and I literally had that app for 5 days. I went on like 2 dates from it, and both of those dates just weren't very good dates. Like, one of the dates I went on, I'm sure the person will never see this, so I feel fine saying it. But I went on this date, and he literally talked to me about DJing for like 2.5 hours. I don't even know if he knew my major by the end of the date, but he talked to me about DJing for 2 hours. And there's only so much I want to know about DJing. So anyway, I was just really unimpressed, and I was like, you know what, this doesn't work. Like, dating apps don't work. I just didn't go on after those 2 dates.
My experience with dating or with this app was I had it for 2 days, and then I came across Sophia. I was really excited about her, and she had her Instagram bio in there, or her Instagram link. So I looked her up, and for some reason, I was so impressed. I saw it, and I was like, whoa, I've got to go out with Sophia. And thankfully, I had her Instagram account pulled up, and then I swiped up and didn't match. Sophia
And
didn't swipe back.
that's because I wasn't on the app anymore. I had like gone on those 2 bad dates and I was like, it doesn't work, and I just forgot about it. And so it didn't match because I never saw him. So
That's what she says.
if I saw him, I would have swiped up 100%.
I was only on there for 2 days.
So
But-
anyway, he messaged me, and I get this message one day. I remember getting this Instagram DM. So basically, I feel like we should have said this at the beginning, but whenever people ask like how we met, we always just say the short version of the story, which is he slid into my DMs.
Yeah.
This is obviously the more detailed version of that. So anyway, he messaged me and was like, hey, I saw you on Mutual. I've only had it for a few days. I'm not a big fan, honestly, but you look nice. I'd love to take you out or something. We should put the message in here. We should find it.
Yeah, we can see if we can find it.
Is what he said.
I'm pretty sure I remember what I said. I said, you look like somebody I'd like to take out. Are you free this weekend?
Yeah.
Something like that. It was kind of forward. I'm not very good at the whole like texting back and forth thing. And so I just wanted to shoot my shot. I figured if I can get her in person, like if she can meet me in person and we go on some kind of date, then I think my chances will go way up. But this whole texting thing, not my thing. So I just wanted to be straight to the point.
So
which
yeah.
apparently worked.
He messages me and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I obviously look at his profile and I'm like, wow, he's really good looking. But at the time, like I said earlier, I was just a bit like, I just couldn't be bothered with boys for some reason. I was just a bit like, this thing kept happening where boys would like me or think that they would like me. And then I'd like get excited about it and then they'd just kind of drop me. And I was like, well, that sucks. Like, that was a waste of time. So I just kept thinking that was going to happen to me. So anyway, I get this DM from this boy who looks really good looking. And at the time as well, I was watching the Ted Bundy documentary series on Netflix.
Worst thing
which
ever.
just heightened my paranoia of men. So I was like, oh, he's good looking and seems nice, bad sign. But we had a few mutual friends, you know, on Instagram how you can see like who follows who. And I saw that he followed my really good friend. So I actually messaged her and I said, hey, tell me everything you know about Israel Prestwich, like just doing my detective background research. And she responded, and I remember thinking, that's impressive, because she said, honestly, I have no bad words to say about him. Like, great guy. And I'm like, okay, sweet. Like, that's a good sign. Because I feel like girls, you know, we dish the tea if there's tea to be spilled. But there was obviously no tea to be spilled. So, yeah, I was like, okay. So I responded. And I remember that particular weekend, I was quite social at the time, like, going to parties and hanging out with friends and stuff, and so I really was busy that weekend. And so I said something like, hey, I'm really busy this weekend, but I'm going to a pool party tonight. If you want to join me, like, you're welcome to join me.
And so I always saw this, like I always tease Sophia, as this was her asking me out on our first date. First off, she doesn't consider this our first date.
No, it wasn't a date.
Even though it was. But I messaged her on Wednesday. She said, yeah, I'm going to this pool party on Friday. Do you want to come? So she invited me, and she offered to drive. Because I was like, yeah, I'll come pick you up. And she's like, oh, I'll come pick you up. Where do you live? Send me your address.
Because I offered to drive, because I was like, oh, I feel bad, you know, if I invite him to my friend's pool party, he might just feel awkward or uncomfortable showing up all by himself. So I was like, I'm going to be like a nice person and like offer him to just drive with us. Because it was me and my sister and then my sister's friend who were going. So
Anyways, I went to her place and then we rode together.
Let's talk about first impressions, like when you first saw me, when I first saw you. So yeah, he came to my apartment and I remember exactly where we met on this like little
walkway.
Pavement area. And I just remember seeing him being like, whoa, like he was good looking online, but he's really good looking in person too. Like he was just exactly my type. Like, I know it's stereotypical, but tall, dark and handsome. Exhibit A.
Voila.
So anyway, yeah, I just remember thinking like, this could be good. But at the same time, I don't know, I have this like weird, bad mindset at the time of like, you know, good looking boy, he's probably a bit of a, what's a nice way to say this?
A bro?
A bit of a bro, yeah. He's a bit of a bro. But I was like, we'll see, whatever. So we get in the car, and my first impression of Izzy, I was like, he is kind of quiet. But I didn't know if he was shy or just quiet. Because obviously, you can probably tell, I'm the louder one.
One of us talks a little bit more than the other.
I'm the louder one in the relationship. So I was like, he's kind of quiet. But I remember like 10 minutes in, I was like, no, he's not quiet. He's actually really good at conversations. Like, there's a difference to me between like someone who like can't carry on a conversation. Someone that's just shy or a little bit more reserved when you first meet them, and someone that like can't hold a conversation. And Izzy definitely could hold a conversation. So I was like, okay, that's good. We can talk.
Yeah, my first impression was when we came down the aisle. No, I'm just
It's
kidding.
like pavement.
Yeah, this little pavement. I saw her. She was all summery. She had this red summer dress, and I was just excited. She looked prettier than I expected. She was friendlier. I loved her accent. I think Sophia was worried that when we first started dating, I only liked her because she was from England and had an accent. And for me, that was like a reason that I liked her. It was great. It was a huge bonus. But that wasn't why I liked Sophia, because I liked her as who she was. But I just remember, I don't necessarily remember too much about the car ride. I guess I was kind of quiet. But she loved the 1917.
1975.
Oh, she... Well,
How could you forget?
how could I forget? I don't know. She loved the 1975. We talked about their concert that she'd recently been to. We talked about traveling because we'd both recently been in California. And then on the way, this was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I remember.
On the way to the party, we stopped at a gas station. We're getting so nitty gritty in this, but stopped at a gas station to pick up some treats. And I hadn't eaten all day, and I didn't have my wallet. And so I asked Sophia to spot me. I was like, hey, can you just get me this sandwich? It was something like $3.50 or $4. I just needed something.
I swear I bought you a sandwich and a drink or something.
No, I don't ever get drinks from gas stations.
Or like I swear it was 2 things. Donuts.
You got yourself some chocolate.
I did?
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
It was
Sounds
like
like
a
me.
box of donuts.
For the party.
She got herself some chocolate, and then I just got this little sandwich.
But for some reason, I remember, like, in my mind, I was like, oh, if this doesn't go well, he's just using me. Like, he's just going to use and abuse me. He said he'll pay me back, but he probably won't, but whatever. I remember thinking that. But
And
anyway.
I did pay her back.
Yeah, he did, actually. And I was actually really impressed because I bought donuts for the party, and he also, like, helped pay for the donuts for my friend's party. So I was like, wow, that's really nice. So anyway, we get to the party, and yeah, I just remember seeing a bunch of friends that I knew, but we talked for like a good few hours at this party. We just sat down by the pool,
Yeah, it was nice.
talked for hours, got to know each other really well. That's so crazy. I wish we could go back in time and like watch ourselves. But I remember we played spike ball. I remember you were wearing quite short swimming shorts, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
he's got really good legs.
It was so funny because we were at this pool party, and the whole time I kept saying, like, should we go jump in? Should we jump in? Just implying, should we get in the pool?
But in England, jump in means you jump into the pool.
And so Sophia just kept responding, like, I don't think it's deep enough. I don't think we should jump in. And I was like, well, let's just get in the water. And she's like, well, we can't jump in.
Because it was a really shallow indoor pool as well. So I was like, I just think if we jump in, like in my mind, I was like, if we jump in, we're probably going to like crack some bones or something. So I
You
was
know
like,
how on your first date there's certain memories that stick. And that's one where she just was like, I don't think we should. So we never did get in the pool
Yeah.
at the end of the date.
Because I feel like sometimes when people hear, like, that's how we met, was we went to a pool party on our first date, or the first time we met, they're like, ooh, like, saucy. But, like, I never took off my dress thing the whole time because I never got in the pool. We went outside and I remember we talked, and something that really impressed me was I feel like a lot of dates that I'd been on before, guys would just kind of ask questions to just be polite, or something that for some reason was a turn off for me is they would always ask questions just about England, and that was like the defining thing about me, like, oh, your accent, oh, England, oh, this, and I don't know, it's fine, but I wanted to talk about something different for once, like have a different conversation. And I remember Izzy was just really cool because he would ask me questions, like really intent questions with pure intent, and like was really genuine. Would ask me about my family and go deep into my siblings and just ask about my background and like filmmaking and things like that. And it was just like, I just remember being like, wow, like he actually seems like he's listening and like he's actually interested in like me. And yeah, I was really impressed by that.
Basically, by the end of the first date, Sophia had me wooed. As much as I don't want to say it. But yeah, we had a great conversation. I just remember being really excited, wanting to take her out again. This was on a Friday. I think I asked her out for the next Monday.
Yeah.
Something like that. I had it in my mind. I was like, if I don't take her out again, then some other guy's going to swoop in and she'll lose her interest in me. So I got to act fast. But I was just so excited. And so in regards to mutual, at that point I still had it, but I just never went out with anybody. Sophia was the only person I ever went out with on mutual. And after like our second date, I basically just stopped using it. Whereas somebody else didn't. But a time for a different story.
Time. Okay, we're going to stop it there because we both really need to run to the bank to go do an errand before the bank closes. This would be part 1 of our love story. Part 2 to be continued.
Stay tuned.
It involves our dating story, some hurdles we had to overcome. Not really hurdles, just wanted to make it more juicy.
Big hurdles.
And our wedding, our crazy wedding day where COVID literally changed everything.
Let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
We'll answer them in the next video.
Thanks for watching.